Neil, let's start with you. Where are the crowds flocking to? I would imagine the beach.
Oh, Jeremy, 4 key areas. If you look at our business, you talk about our traditional resorts, your Sabis and Drax, where it's the fully inclusive family sort of break.
Okay.
That's traditionally very full over December and continues to be so.
Oh, really?
And then, of course, the beach. Durban, Cape Town are holiday destinations that prove to be very popular, and in particular Durban. Durban's had a major facelift for the World Cup, and we're going to have a spectacular season in Durban this year.
That Durban market has changed because am I correct in saying it went through a bit of a slump at one stage, but it now seems to be flying?
Yeah, it's all about what they've done on that beachfront, Jeremy. Over the last couple of years, they've spent a huge amount of money on widening the beachfront, security, lighting, entertainment, and our weekends have picked up, and we see it in our December bookings. So it's going to all happen in Durban.
Alan, you've now, as I said earlier, got 2 ships in the South African waters. How many berths do you have available at any given time, on any given night on your books?
It's huge. It's just grown and grown. The ships, between the two of them, is 3,900 beds.
Yesterday.
We basically have sailing twice a week through the majority of the season. Just Christmas and New Year is slightly different. The cruises are slightly longer. But over the Christmas period, we're looking at probably close to 20,000 people will move through the ships between the beginning of December and middle of January.
This is traditionally a very, very good time for Starlight, isn't it? Because this is your New Year's cruise is always a sellout. The Christmas cruises are sellouts. This is where you can put a fair amount of money into the back sky.
It is traditionally from, I think, just a little like Neil was saying there, is that from the time that schools break up, it is a peak time. It is most of the cruises are going out absolutely chock-a-block full, and that's sort of not a cabin empty. Christmas this year is slightly different. We still have limited availability Christmas and New Year because of the fact we brought 2 ships into the market. Mm-hmm. But surprisingly, November has been exceptionally good, very, very full business market, which is a growing new sector. There are a lot of people having conferences on board. So it is massive volumes.
What is your split, Neil, more or less, between family and business in the Southern Suns group?
Obviously, it depends time of the year. December is very much leisure.
Yes, it would be.
People coming into a place like Monte Casino for shows with family. So your shift in December is completely leisure orientated. Even Joburg is shoppers and people come in, for shows and different things in Joburg. But in the year, it's predominantly business and conference. That's kind of 70-80% of our business. Now,
you're saying that this conference thing is taking off in the cruising industry as well. That companies are getting on board a ship. I suppose it's one way of making sure that you've got everybody together. That nobody buggers off from Joburg to Pretoria for the night. They can't really go anywhere, can they?
That really, I think, is one of the big benefits is the team building aspect, because the people can't be half on the golf course and half in the spa. Team building is a big factor, but I think at the same time, the venues, specifically the MSC Sinfonia, has a very modern, well-equipped function room specifically made for conferencing, so people can have a professional conference on board. But at the same time, there's all sorts of activities happening, so they can bring the family along and make it sort of 2-in-1. They're doing the delegates are actually in hard working sessions, and the rest of the family are enjoying all the activities on board.
I want to come back to a comment you made to me a while back and see if it still holds water with you. Can you say holds water to somebody who runs a cruise company?
No, hopefully yes.
You can, yeah. From your side, how important are the click-ons to a resort? You mentioned Monte Casino. That to me would be an easy sell, or an easier sell, because of the fact that you have all of the amenities, and I mean all of the amenities available to you. But you've got a lot of places which are almost standalones. Is it difficult to sell those without the extra facilities like a golf course and those sort of things?
No, in many cases it's easier, Jeremy. If you take our traditional resorts, like I spoke earlier on, Sabi, Drax, Sun, Riverside, they're family resorts where everything is inclusive, and the kids' entertainment, the activities are all on site. So you go there for an all-inclusive family experience. But what we do over December, even in Durban and Cape Town, we've got kiddies programs running throughout the day in those properties. So, if you're staying at the Elangeni in Durban, we'll have kiddies programs on the beach, volleyball, bicycle rides, planned activities. So the hotel facilitates all of these things, trips to the Sharks board. And you can do all of these things. So the hotel becomes kind of the anchor in the whole activity. So in fact, you're not restricted to the hotel as the resort, although it's got beach, a pool on the back and the front. You're using the facilities of the whole of Durban, and you're locking into what Durban has to offer. So it actually works in your favor.
You said to me a while back, I bumped into you in a pub. Funny that. Yes. And you said to me, I am just loving this recession. Because the South African market climbed into the local travel market.
Very true, Jeremy. I think we've seen a massive growth in cruising in this market. Last year, for the first time, we brought the Sinfonia here, 2,200 bed world-class vessel. And it came at the same time as there was an economic crunch. And I think people who might have previously gone international for their holiday suddenly saw this as an exciting, very affordable local holiday. So we had a phenomenal year last year, nearly 96% average occupancy for the season.
Jeez.
So a phenomenal season. So we got brave enough to bring 2 ships this year, and I've turned a little grayer.
that is a phenomenal number. 96% occupancy. I mean, if you guys were doing 96% occupancy, I think your boss Graham would probably be doing backward flick-flacks across his office.
Absolutely.
Have you found that as well, though, with the local market? Because Southern Sun have also got international resorts as well.
Yeah, let me say we're not enjoying the recession because it impacts big time on the conference and business market. But from a leisure perspective, we experience exactly the same thing. It's the one segment that has grown. South Africans are spending back in South Africa. And, we kind of work very hard on creating great value for money for the domestic leisure market. And we experience exactly the same thing. It's one segment that's grown continually over the last 2 years.
But it's not a big segment from your point of view, though.
Well, as I said earlier, in December, it's a big segment. It's December, and it's predominantly what we do. On weekends, it's a big segment for us.
Are South Africans using the offshore resorts as well? I mean, you've got Dubai, you've got Paradise Sun in Seychelles, you've got Maya in Mahe in Seychelles.
They are, Jeremy, but they're not the big markets for those properties. South Africans and the Seychelles probably give us maybe 10% of our business. At Paradise, very much smaller at Maya. So they rely very much on the European and the other overseas markets there.
You obviously would get a lot of Southern African business from a business point of view, people coming into the country to do business here. Are you getting any business out of Southern Africa, or is yours purely South African?
I would say the majority is South African. We're seeing more and more coming out of Zimbabwe, Zambia, even Congo and Uganda. Now we have agents up there pushing it, and it's still a very small number, but it's certainly growing.
Is that one of the things that you're going to have to target, is looking at the African visitor?
Because it's a big market for us.
Africans coming in is huge.
And not necessarily the beach side of leisure, but at this time of the year, a lot of African shopping coming down here.
Yes.
Target that for Joburg. So, our Sandton and Monte Casino properties, that's a really big market, building up to Christmas and even over Christmas. They come down and they do last minute shopping and they stay on for a show and some entertainment.
What are the prospects for next year, Neil? Where are we going?
Leisure, I think, will be good, Jeremy. It's still going to be tough business-wise. Industry's still under pressure, business and conference-wise, and we've got a lot of hard work to do in those segments. But leisure, we're very optimistic that, with Durban on track now, with all the great packages available into Cape Town, that we'll continue to do well out of domestic leisure.
And you, Al?
I would have to go along with Neil there. We're also very optimistic with the new year. We've already finalized the programs for the 2 ships again for next year. Very similar seasons, starting early November, running through into March next year with both ships. Mm-hmm. So a very similar program to this year, and we're confident that in fact we'll have a better year next year than this year.
So, despite the doom and gloom that everyone's painting, the travel industry looks as though it's there, it's maintaining at least, if not growing, it at least is maintaining. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I'm confident we've kind of reached the bottom from a business cycle point of view. I think all the new competition's absorbed into the market. We know where we stand now, and we'll continue to plug away at that and grow the segments that we can.
Let me put the final question to both of you. Well, the same thing I asked to the previous 2 guests. How are you looking going forward at extracting value out of your properties?
For us, Jeremy, we always will look at doing things smarter and in a more cost-effective way. But it's about creating value for money and growing the top line in our business. We've made some adjustments to our rate structures. We've repositioned Garden Court as the best value for money brand in the economy market, and we really see the volumes coming through there. So for us, the real focus will be on driving top line, making sure that we're relevant and that we've got great value for our guests.
And you guys?
Really, the secret, I think, of the cruising success at the moment is that it's value. It's exceptional value, and we're seeing a lot of families cruising. Children up to the age of 18 are traveling and eating free, so it makes it a very viable family holiday. It has an exotic feel to it, even though it starts and ends in Durban or Cape Town. Entertainment, once the one walks onto the ship, you basically have 90% of your holidays paid for, which I think is, again, no big surprises when you check out. So that is the big driving force for the cruise industry, I think, worldwide. And I think one difference we have from most land-based hotels is the fact that you have one property with the same food, same entertainment, shared by all, but you have a wide range of different accommodation, from the guy who doesn't mind the propeller shaft running through his cabin all the way up to the guy who wants his private balcony.
The only thing I disagree with you there is you saying that you walk onto the ship and 90% of your bill has been paid, because I've been on some of your ships and I tell you, my bill's been hectic, but that's just me.